Okay, children, I am going to take the third chapter of the first module, Events and Processes. That is Indian nationalism. Modern nationalism in Europe came to be associated with the formation of nation states that we have already learned in chapter 1. It also meant a change in people's understanding of who they are and what defined their identity and sense of belonging. In India, the growth of nationalism is connected to the anti-colonial movement. The sense of being oppressed under colonial power was common to different classes. It was different to each class and group. So they felt the effect of colonialism differently. The Congress, under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, tried to unite these groups together within one movement. Now, we can see the factors that helped the growth of nationalism in India. You please note the points. The first point is that the First World War, I think all of you know the year, the First World War. The First World War was in the year 1940. It created a new economic and political situation worldwide. So that is the first point, and the first clue is the First World War. And the second point that we can see is the increasing of taxes, then the increasing prices of food grains and heavy rents that people must pay. That is the second point. And the third point, the forced recruitment in the army caused widespread anger among the people. They were forcefully recruited to the army, and this caused widespread anger among the people. That is the third point. And the fourth point we will note is that after the war, the Indian industries faced heavy losses, and the fifth point I am going to say, people suffered acute shortage of food, influenza, etc. So we will come to these 5 points again. The clues are: the first clue, First World War; the second, you can see increasing of so and so; then the third, the forced recruitment; then the fourth one, the Indian industries faced problems; and the fifth one, the people suffered acute shortage of food. And at this situation, Mahatma Gandhi, with his noble vision, came to India in January 1915. Please note the year. 1914 was the First World War, and 1915 Mahatma Gandhi came from South Africa to India. And here we can see the advent of Mahatma. In January 1915, Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa to India. And Gandhiji's heroic fight for the Indians in South Africa was also well known. His idea of Satyagraha, we will deal about that. The idea of Satyagraha of Mahatma Gandhi. He was against violence. He needed truth. And the idea of Satyagraha emphasized the power of truth and the need for the search of it. Then it suggested the physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. If we are pure in mind, then why do we want to be afraid of the oppressor? So physical force is not at all needed for the method of these new ideas. So Mahatma Gandhi suggested truth, and he was always against violence. Without being aggressive, that means without being violent, a Satyagraha could win the battle through non-violence. This could be done by appealing the conscience of the oppressor. Non-violence is the supreme dharma. Then we can see 3 Satyagrahas were introduced by Mahatma Gandhi. That was in the year 1916, 1917 and in 1918. So please note the years. 1914, First World War. 1915, Gandhiji came from South Africa. So please children, you please note the years. 1914, First World War. 1915, Mahatma Gandhi came to India from South Africa. 1916, 17, 18. We are going to study about the satyagrahas conducted by Mahatma Gandhi. In 1916, Mahatma Gandhi travelled to Champaran, that is in Bihar, to inspire the peasants to struggle against oppressive indigo planters. So that is the Champaran movement. That is in 1916. Champaran movement, and Champaran, that is in Bihar. He went to Bihar to inspire the peasants to struggle against the oppressive indigo planters. The next is in the year 1917. 16 Champaran movement. 1917 we will see the Kheda movement. That is Mahatma Gandhi supported the Kheda peasants. Kheda is in Gujarat district. And he supported the Kheda peasants who were suffering from shortage of food due to crop failure and advised them not to pay revenue. At that time also, during they were facing the shortage of food, they were asked to give the revenue. And so Mahatma Gandhi supported them not to pay the revenue because of this crop failure. That is in 1917 in where? Can you say? In Kheda, that is in Gujarat. And in 1918, another Satyagraha movement. He organized a Satyagraha movement among cotton mill workers in Ahmedabad. So please see the years. 14, First World War. Then 15, Mahatma Gandhi came from South Africa to India. Then 1916, Champaran movement. 1917, Kheda. Then 1918, Ahmedabad mill workers strike or the Satyagraha, supported by Mahatma Gandhi. Next portion is about the Rowlatt Act. So we will see the next topic about the Rowlatt Act. It was passed in 1919, the next year. Please note, 1919. So in 1919, Rowlatt Act was passed. And this was passed through the Imperial Legislative Council, but it was facing so many opposition from the Indian members. Understood? It was passed through the Imperial Legislative Council in spite of the opposition of so many Indian members. Rowlatt Act gave the government enormous power to repress political activities. Political activities were repressed under this Rowlatt Act. It allowed the detention of political prisoners for 2 years without any trial. So without any trial, any Indians were kept in jail without any trial for 2 years. Then the Rowlatt Act, Mahatma Gandhi automatically decided to oppose this, but only through Satyagraha, not through violence. So 6th April 1919, all over the country observed a Satyagraha Day. 6th April 1919, a Satyagraha Day was conducted all over the world. Sorry, not all over the world, all over the country. People all over the country observed fast and hartal. Rallies and strikes went on. Railways and telegraphs were disrupted, and as a result of that, local leaders were picked up and Mahatma Gandhi was banned to enter Delhi. On 10th April, in Amritsar, police fired upon a peaceful procession, and this provoked widespread attacks on banks post offices and railway stations. And martial law was imposed by General Dyer. Hope you understand. And these were the happenings after the Rowlatt Act. The next portion is about Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Jallianwala Bagh massacre. This Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened on 13th April 1919 in Amritsar, that is in Punjab. You have already studied that in the lower classes. And so it is easy for you to listen to that, Jallianwala Bagh massacre. On that day means on 13th April 1919, many people came to this Jallianwala Bagh. Bagh means a park. Jallianwala Bagh. And also so many villages also come there because it was a day of Baishagi. Baishagi is a festival. So that is a festival day and so many people came to this one here in Jallianwala Bagh. And many people were unknown about the martial law imposed by this General Dyer. And some of the people, they were discussing about the problems that was mentioned by this General Dyer. And some of the people, that means the village people, they don't know what is happening there, so they were laughing, dancing and so on. And many people, men, women, all of them was there in that Jallianwala Bagh. Then, what happened is that the villagers were unaware, no? So, the Dyer, that means General Dyer, entered the area, blocked the exit points, that means the gates, blocked the exit points and opened fire on the crowd, killing hundreds of people. That happened in Jallianwala Bagh and that was the incident happened there, and famous. So after this Jallianwala Bagh massacre, the people reacted, the people very much reacted because it was an unfamous incident happened at that time, killing so many people and also wounded people. And most of the people, they don't know what was happening there. As the news spread, crowd took to the streets. There were strikes, hartals, clashes with the police and attacks on government buildings. And this was the reaction of the people. Then we will see what was the response of the government. Government humiliated and terrorized people. Satyagrahis were forced to rub their nose on the ground, crawl on the streets and to do salute to the sahibs, that means the British officers. Then people were beaten and villages were bombed. Seeing violence spread, Mahatma Gandhi called off the non-cooperation movement. We all know that Mahatma Gandhi was against violence and he was having the idea of Satyagraha and he don't need any violence there. So hearing and seeing these violent attacks of the people and on the people, Mahatma Gandhi called off this non-cooperation movement. Next, we will see about the Khilafat movement. Yes, Khilafat movement. The First World War has ended with the defeat of Ottoman Turkey. It was ruled by Khalifa, Muslim religious leaders or Islamic leaders, religious leaders. The First World War had ended with the defeat of the Ottoman Turkey, and was ruled by Khalifa. There was rumor that a harsh peace treaty was going to be imposed on the Ottoman Empire. That means a rumor spread that the British is going to take this Ottoman Turkey under their rule and the Khalifa rule will be taken away. And this caused religious sentiments among the Muslims. So, the Muslims wanted to have their Khalifa rule back. And this Khilafat movement was under the leadership of Ali brothers. That means Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali. And they formed a committee and they discussed with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of united mass action on the issue. Mahatma Gandhi need to bring Hindus and the Muslims together because he wanted them to be under one umbrella to launch a wide movement. And so he agreed to help these Muslims. The Congress passed the resolution in the Calcutta session in September 1920 to start a satyagraha on the Khilafat issue. So on September 1920, in the Calcutta session, the Congress passed the resolution to start a satyagraha on Khilafat issue. Then, the next portion we are going to deal is with the stages proposed. You will see that the stages proposed by Mahatma to gain success in non-cooperation movement. The first stage, that means this non-cooperation movement was held in so many stages. In the first stage, that is the surrender of titles and honors. Surrender of titles and honors. Then the second point, boycott of civil services, army, police, British courts and legislative assemblies, schools and colleges and British goods. That is the boycott of all the things that was under the British control. Then the second one, the third one, British goods were replaced by Swadeshi or domestic goods. That means our domestic goods were there instead of these British goods or the foreign goods. Then the fourth point, in case of government suppression, a civil disobedience movement will be launched. That was the main point under this. If all these actions were done, or if any stages of these are not accepted by the British, or the government suppression is there, another widespread movement, that is the civil disobedience movement, will be launched under the leadership of Mahatma. After long debates, the non-cooperation movement was adopted by the Congress during the Nagpur session in December 1920. Under Mahatma Gandhi's leadership, non-cooperation, Khilafat movement began to be in full force. That is the end of our first chapter. That is from the that is the end of our this portion, and the next portion we will see is about the different strands within the movement.